haven't we all just been censured by the head commissar himself against speaking out against what he believes? And
yes, no, these are fascists. This Obama administration is filled with fascist dictators of the lowest order. These Emmanuel brothers, Nancy Pelosi, these are dictators, all of them, every last one of them. They're criminals. They're telling us we can't speak out, that we're un-American. I ate a lot of eggplant last night. I'd like to tell you what gesture I'd like to say to them right now. I'd like to give them all a Bronx cheer and tell them what they can do. They can kiss my Bronx behind.
I want to thank you for keeping us updated on the machinations of the brothers Mengele.
Oh, boy. No, you mean the brothers Emmanuel, don't you? Not the brothers Mengele.
Yeah, I've been calling them Mengele for a long time now.
No, Mengele, of course, euthanized Jewish prisoners after experimenting on them. You're not accusing them of doing that, are you? Well, at least not yet. Now they just say they should be denied care. I realize they could be of some use, though. When you actually think about it, to the communitarian view, after they deny medical care to those with cerebral palsy, they could say, now, wait a minute, there may be some use for them. We could use them in live experiments. You're right about that.
Yes, I didn't
think it through. I'm sorry. Because after all, they're saying they should deny medical care to the useless citizens and reserve it only for useful citizens. But in that way, if you were to take somebody with cerebral palsy, by their thinking, you could make them a useful citizen in that either you could make them give up organs that are still good. That would make them useful, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Or they could do some live experiments on them to see how much pain they could experience or see how long they could take a dip in ice water the way the German doctors did. After all, that turned the undesirables into desirables, didn't it? How did we fall this far, Marie, that people of this low psychotic mentality could be in such high places? Because from my point of view, they're psychotic. These men are very dangerous. These men are evil, and they're psychotic, in my opinion. You want to talk about un-American? They're un-American. How's that? Does that work for you, Marie?
I'm a psychologist. It is my opinion they are psychotic, every one of them. As far as I'm concerned.
When I watch Obama speak, I see a narcissist who is not borderline psychotic. I see an absolute overt psychotic who is so in love with himself, he has no idea. He hasn't any idea what he is doing or where he's doing it. Why is he in Mexico today giving a speech about so-called health care reform to illegal aliens and their controllers in Mexico? Why is he in Mexico today? Tell me.
You said it before. He's like...
Because he's doing a town hall meeting in the town that elected him. I'll be right back. Borders, language, and culture. You care about these things. I tell you why they're important. The Savage Nation, weekdays 3 till 7 on Talk 910 KNEW.
Anticipate that before the year is out, we will have draft legislation, along with sponsors potentially in the House and the Senate, who are ready to move this forward. And when we come back next year, that we should be in a position to start acting. Now, am I going to be able to snap my fingers and get this done? No. This is going to be difficult. It's going to require bipartisan cooperation. There are going to be demagogues out there who try to suggest that any form of pathway for legalization for those who are already in the United States is unacceptable. And
so that's Obama in Mexico speaking to the people who put him in power, the illegal aliens and their controllers, saying that anyone who opposes illegal immigration now is a demagogue who should be on perhaps the Homeland Security watch list. So now it's gone from returning military veterans, anyone who's anti-abortion, anybody who opposes homosexual marriage, and now anybody who opposes illegal immigration is now a potential demagogue, according to the Obama psychotics. Because if you are an American who believes in borders, language, and culture, by definition, you're a psychotic and a demagogue, and that you're a dangerous person. And the important thing is to make certain that the illegal aliens are treated better than you are. Now, how did this happen that we awaken one day and we have a president speaking in a foreign country that exports 1/5 of its citizens to suck off the land in America? Make no mistake about it. They're not a net contributor to this society. I think the number is $25 billion are known to go back to Mexico every year. So how does that help you if they send $25 billion back? Well, first First of all, that money should be taxed, number one. It's money under the table. So they're not paying taxes. They're not paying Social Security. They're getting free medical care, free legal care. God knows what else they're getting for free. And so, therefore, now he's representing them against you, the Native American citizen who does not want any more illegals sucking the system dry. How do we have an administration? And by the way, it's no different than Bush. Make no mistake about it. Bush also went with the guys with the big hats. Make no mistake about it. Bush also panded to the man with the big hat on the big white horse.
Savage. Michael Savage.
Afternoons 3 to 7.
On Talk 910 KNEW.
And online at 910KNEW.com.
Coming up next, from San Fran Freak Show, the Savage Nation. From Talk 910 KNEW.
On the air, online, and on the go. This is Talk 910 KNEW.
Warning. The Michael Savage Show contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation. Here is Michael Savage.
I now want to talk about the communist revolution going on in America. And make no mistake about it, we're going through an early phase of a communist revolution. I know it sounds abrupt. I know it sounds unrealistic because you haven't read it in your local paper, but listen carefully. After the end of World War I, Germany was a defeated nation. It had been beaten militarily. Its people were starving because of a continued Allied blockade, and Germany was in shambles. At this moment, the communists took advantage of the situation to go on strike. The year before, Lenin had conducted a successful revolution in Russia, and Germany was the next target. The Communist Party of Germany, also known as the Spartacist Bund, staged massive street demonstrations designed to destabilize the government. They called a general strike in January of 1918 and filled the streets of Berlin with 500,000 of their communist foot soldiers. Eventually, order was restored because conservatives, centrists, and returning war veterans known as the Free Corps, put down the communist revolution. Now remember, this was before Hitler's rise to power. These were not Nazis. These were ex-soldiers who didn't want to see their country destroyed by the red menace of communism. Now, let's think about who today in America fears returning war veterans. I seem to remember that returning war veterans were on the list of those to be watched as potential right-wing extremists by none other than Janet Napolitano, who heads up the Homeland Security Department. But who else was put on this list to be watched? Anti-abortion activists, people opposed to same-sex marriage, militia members, gun control opponents, people concerned about the loss of manufacturing jobs, those opposed to illegal immigration. All of you became enemies of the Obama administration. Let's go back to Germany, World War I. The communist revolution in Germany, where there were communist street thugs beating people up, only came to an end when the right wing stood up and fought back. Much later, a leader of the extreme right wing then appeared, and his name, Adolf Hitler. Unfortunately for the world, he was not a real conservative. He was a Nazi, he was a racist, he was a murderer. Let's be very clear. The conservative movement is not the Nazi movement. The conservative movement is not run by Adolf Hitler. But we need the conservative movement, and we need a conservative leader. We must not let the communist left, Boxer, Reed, Feinstein, Obama, Napolitano, determine what is conservative and what is patriotic. They are absolute textbook Marxists. They meet every definition of such. We now see a communist revolution occurring in the United States of America. The only thing happening is that the people themselves, the average person, without any leadership whatsoever from the Republicans or conservative leadership, are awakening to the dictatorship that is emerging under Chairman Obama. They are starting to appear at town hall meetings, and they're yelling out, shouting out, talking out, walking out, speaking out. Strangely enough, this is occurring without any conservative leadership from the political establishment whatsoever. To counter this, though, the communists under Obama are now bringing out union thugs to beat up average American citizens. I've just given you a thumbnail sketch of the communist revolution that almost occurred in Germany and the communist revolution that is occurring in America. This is the savage nation. All right, play the clip.
He has the right to be represented. I'm his father, and I want to talk to you face to face. Under the Obama health care plan, which you support, this man would be given no care whatsoever because he is a cerebral palsy handicapped person.
We put an amendment in which will address his specific problem as the bill was going in.
That was the sound, that was the voice of a father who went to a town hall meeting with Congressman Dingell.